when we get started, I'll just be a minute or so while I'm looking for something to talk about.
Don't worry, my friend. I have your shield.
Get into position.
Okay,
I won't hold forever.
so, as Reinhardt, right? One of the misconceptions about Reinhardt as a character is that he essentially just exists to want to sit around and shield. But that's not really how you want to be playing Reinhardt. You don't want to just sit and shield because then you're not really accomplishing too much, and you end up wasting your shield on just random spam damage when it could be used to actually block meaningful damage. So here, rather than kind of just standing here, right, we can think through this, right? We can go, okay, what in particular are we really shielding when we could just let our team use cover and then we can come up and push on this corner, right? So if we come up and push on this corner, well, then we might even be able to get in swing range of the Sigma and the Orisa, and then we have our full shield for when we're trying to push aggressively. Whereas here, we just kind of sit around and sit around and sit around until eventually our entire shield gets used up, right? Just as a sitting around, and then we never end up actually pushing in. So now if we do try to push in, we're pushing in when we have no shield to work with, right? So now we try to get aggressive, and it's just impossible, right? Um, if you're going to play a character that just sits around and shields, you're going to be much better off on Sigma or Orisa because both of those characters can shield and shoot. Reinhardt cannot do both, he can only do one. So you're just playing a worse character if you're just sitting around. So Reinhardt as a character wants to go in and do things, essentially.
Okay.
We maybe go into the how and whatnot a little bit later.
Engaging fortifications. It will restore you.
I almost got the shatter. Okay, so I mean a couple things here where like we kind of stop swinging when we're Sigma. We probably would have hit Sigma on the backswing. We're swinging when we're not in range of people rather than like kind of pushing and swinging it with when we're in range. Not incredibly massive. Massive shatter. Pretty big. Alright, and then we're dead. Alright. And that's because I think Bash is behind us. No, I guess he wasn't really shooting at us. It was Soldier. Alright. Why don't we talk about a bunch of different things? We can exit out here real quick. Alrighty. So, let's pick Ryan. And I'm sorry, out of curiosity as well, do you play like what your Ana was like low gold last time you told me like what your SR was? What's your tank at?
Tank is high silver.
Oh, silver. Okay. So, shield usage, right? Let's go over a bunch of different things with shield usage. So firstly, you do not want to shield against just every single little piece of damage that they throw your way, because if you, and that, you would call that kind of just spam damage, right? You know, just soldiers shooting at your team, and Bastions shooting at your team, and, you know, Orisa shooting at your team. This is all just spam damage, right? And if you're just blocking every single time they ever shoot at your team, well then your shield is just going to get shredded instantly, and then it's not going to really be useful for anything at all. You're not going to have it for when you actually do need it. So instead, you want to be shielding when you are shielding against ultimates and abilities, and when you or your team are in danger. Not necessarily low, like I can be 1 HP and around this corner and be perfectly safe, right? And then I can be full HP and then, you know, right next to a Diva Bomb and need a shield, right? So shielding when you or your team are in danger. Usually being low will put you in danger though, you know, for the most part. You can shield when you're pushing aggressively, when you're backing out, and then like when there's just a ton of damage that you need to block, which again is just danger, right? Ultimately, the summary of when do you need to shield is just how dangerous is the situation, right? Ultimate abilities, dangerous, right? Someone on your team's low health, usually dangerous, right? Diva Bomb, dangerous, etc. Right? So when danger is there, you shield. Now, when you don't need to shield is, like I said, just that random spam, because if soldiers just shooting at your teammate, are they in danger? they could be in danger soon, but they're not in danger the moment soldier shoots at them, because then what you can do is you see, oh, soldier shooting at them, they're now low, now let me shield, because now the situation has changed. Now soldier's shooting at a low HP teammate, right? And that's different from soldier shooting at you who's full HP, right? Or soldier shooting at your teammate, etc. So that's shield usage at its basics, right? Now, let's also discuss shield hopping really quickly. Are you familiar with that term at all?
Yeah.
Yeah? Are you familiar with how to do it?
What is that? I think you just hop and then you shield, or you can go forward or backwards. But
Yep,
yeah.
exactly, right? You just hop and shield. That's exactly how it is. I would get used to this tech because it's very handy, and I'll talk about when it's handy in a moment. But you can just come and practice this in the training range. But this is a important tech to know on Reinhardt. Essentially, if you are trying to get from point A to point B, right, on Reinhardt, right, you're trying to push into them, and just like on attack right there that we were just playing, and you're trying to walk forwards, and really this is handy anytime you're trying to get somewhere fast. If we are trying to push in and we just hard shield, well then we go super slowly and they just have so much time to melt through our shield, and then by the time we get there our shield's broken, right? And then we don't have a shield for when we're in there taking a bunch of damage. Now if we just walk forwards without any shield, well, yeah, we go faster, but then we once again just get shredded and now we're dead, right? So this finds a nice middle ground where we are now shielding for basically half the time. You'll notice that we're moving a lot faster to engage, so we get in there faster. We preserve our shield, so the shield's not getting shredded. One, because we're moving faster, so they have less time to shoot at us. Two, because it's only up for half the time. And then all the damage that's slipping through, once again, is kind of spam damage. So it's not really going to, in a lot of cases, not really going to kill anybody, because it's just, you know, a couple soldier pellets will slip through and hit you, and then that gets healed up very easily. Overall, it's getting you in there faster. It's allowing you to do more while still keeping you and your teammates safe, right, from all of the damage. Right, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
And it's also handy for disengaging fast, right? Like, let's say we push, and then they just use like 2 ultimates. So we're like, all right, now we're backing out, right? And then if at any point you know, you're 1 HP, well, now you shield, you hard shield, right? Your teammates in danger, you hard shield. Ultimate we need to block, hard shield, right? So, you know, it's just you're using the shield hopping technique when you're going in or out fast is the objective with that. Guess a couple tiny tech things while we're here. Fire strike, you can, since it has a charge up time, you can press it when you're around the corner and then kind of drag it. So that's something that you can, so that you can kind of peek really fast with it and not have to be out in the open super long. So peek and then we're back instantly. Reinhardt's hammer swing. So a couple things of note. So firstly, your hammer swing is note that your hammer swing is longer from the side than it is from the front, so you can actually hit this bot from the side, not the front. Other thing that's even more another bigger reason why you're going to do this is because you can hit multiple people at once. If we're just going like this, we hit one bot, right, one person. But if we just swing our camera with our hammer, then we hit 2 people, right? You can hit multiple people at the same time. You're just swinging your camera with your hammer. So just go left with your hammer, right with the hammer. Left with the hammer, right with the hammer, and you can even hit people at a full like 360. I mean, you might not have. I think you're on PS4, right?
Yeah.
So you might not have high enough of a sensitivity to do that, but you can hit people in a full 360 from around you, just because you can, you know, with the same exact hammer swing. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's probably it for the. Maybe. Yeah, when you're trying to push in, just push in aggro, right? Don't lollygag around. Just push in through the choke. Try to move from cover to cover so that you're not just pushing through the open. All right, where were we on? We were on
Junkertown.
Junkertown. Thank you.
Welcome to Junkertown.
So that all making sense so far?
Yeah, it is.
I'm back.
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
You know better than to show your face around here, Mako.
My ultimate is charged.
Now you can probably just be getting some fire strikes in. Alright, you should basically be fire striking off cooldown. It's just a really good source of ult charge. So even there, when Soldier is visoring, right, it's not that high damage of an ultimate to where if you drop shield for half a second, you're dead, right? So if you're trying to escape faster, because the longer you're sitting out in the open, the faster your shield's gonna break, and then now you're out in the open without a shield, and then you're gonna get shredded, right? So if you're trying to escape sooner, then you probably want to be shield hopping backwards here.
Barrier is failing. Go! I feel certain tomorrow. Barrier won't hold forever.
Okay, so right now we don't need to be forcing an engagement. We kind of just charge super far in. Whenever you're charging, think of like, where's the end destination in mind? Where are you going to end up? And if the answer is in the middle of their team, you know, or very, very close to them, and look at where the rest of your team is right now, we're kind of 1v4ing, right?
Yeah.
This is a situation where we have the advantage. It's a 6v4. We actually should be winning this, but it probably would be much better if we just kind of ran at them straight rather than trying to charge in. Charging straight in means that we take a bunch. Look how much damage we take before we're even able to shield. That's like a fourth of our health that we're already down, all of our armor health, and then we're very out in the open. Over here gives us more cover to work with. We're very far away from our team. If we walk in, we can maybe have our team walk in with us. So just charging into their team usually is not going to be the answer. Just going straight into them. We also get our shield shredded, and then we re-peek after they bongo. Probably not a good idea.
Das Universum singt vor mir.
This is not your time.
And then also just notice how infrequently we've kind of been actually able to touch them. It's kind of been, shield, 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 swing once, shield, 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 swing, fire strike, fire strike, fire strike. Great. There's not really, we're not able to get in on top of them. Okay, this is good. That's what you want to do, right? We kind of just ran at them here. We shielded a little bit as we were approaching. Now we're actually in range. We're actually able to do stuff now. This is perfect as of the moment. Massive. Okay. So massive fire, massive shatter, right? So currently though, there is an issue, and that is that we're pushing without our team. So I didn't notice this when we were pushing, but notice that when we are pushing, when we're down our Ashe, who's all the way in spawn. We're down our, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Who are we missing? We're missing our,
I think Moira.
Moira, yep. Moira's who's all the way back in spawn. No, we have a Mercy. Mercy and Ana. Wait,
Oh, my
Ashe.
bad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, sorry. We're missing, so Ana's all the way back here. Moira, and then we have Ashe all the way in spawn. So we're kind of engaging down, like, 1.5 right now. I don't know why Ana's sitting that far back. So we're down a little bit here. That's something to keep in mind as we're getting super aggressive and pushing around this corner. But we do land a big shatter, right? When we land a big shatter, we push forwards. Note how we missed the fire strike on the Sigma because we kind of pushed too far in. Then we start swinging. As soon as we get antied, we probably want to start backing up towards our team. We're also, instead of being here where we can swing on these guys and then back up to our team, we're kind of pushing in onto their side, and now we're behind them, right? So all this tiny stuff that's adding up. And then we just keep swinging even when we're purple and 200 HP.
Then all you have. I'm not as young as I used to be. Payload moving.
Healing enough.
Just should be fire striking. There you go.
I've got you in my sights.
Okay, notice how we're just, we're not really blocking too much in particular here. I mean, sorry, before Soldier's visoring, and then even when he is visoring, who are we blocking for? right? Is there anybody behind us? No, not really. So we're just blocking for ourselves? Well, can't we just get around the corner, right? And then that means that we're really just shielding for nothing and then just taking unnecessary damage on our shield. And then for some reason, Mercy pushes onto the open when she's behind cover.
Barrier activated. I can't.
Okay, once again, just notice how we're not shielding for anybody, but we just wasted all of it. And then now, if you tried to go and push aggressively into their team, would we be able to?
No.
No, not really. So now we're playing Reinhardt as a character who needs to push aggressively into their team to do things, yet we're incapable now, right? And that's just because we wasted it. We wasted our capabilities to be able to.
I shall seize the payload safely to its destination.
Try not to flash up your shield when it's really low. Try not to. Oh, sorry, we're trying to save a Reaper here, I guess. So that's fine.
Seize the payload safely
Might
to
recommend
its
not fire striking then if you are trying to save your Reaper, but we flash it up after Reaper's dead. So try not to flash up your shield, and let it recharge. Stay behind cover, right? Play safe. Let it recharge, because then we're just putting it up, and then it gets killed, and then we're putting it up, and then it gets killed, and then we just never, once again, are never able to actually push. Consider he's sitting still. Consider charging, right? When it comes to charging, I think it is a good idea to go for charges when it's a short range charge. So thinking about the end destination. Here, if Bastion's set up, right, and we go like this, and we jump around the corner with a charge, well then we're taking the charge this way, right? And now that's out of their line of sight. They can't shoot us. Bastion's sitting still. It's not like he can dodge it, right? And we charge him over into the side, and we get the free kill, right? But instead, we go and swing on him, but he's just going to get out-healed. We're going to get shot at, we're going to take more damage, and then he's just going to get healed through it. So it's probably not going to... I mean, Roadhog kills him.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay, that's a good charge to close the distance. We got nanoed. That's fine. Okay, don't rush the fire strike, right? You can probably... I'm not 100% certain, but you might be able to kill Moira here with the damage boost that you have. I think you probably will be able to kill Moira here, but just what you do is instead of immediately fire striking the Mercy, come and crouch next to the Mercy, and then that puts you more on an even level with them, and then you can fire strike forwards and hit both of them. So rather than just hitting the Mercy, you can get both of them with the fire strike. And that way Moira doesn't escape, you get an extra kill.
Yeah.
Protect the payload.
Get me my
Eyes on the back, Alex.
Cease your resistance.
Gotta put a little bit of effort into our fire strikes, noticing a lot of them are missing.
Yeah.
Standing still bongo, right?
Yeah.
We're going past it.
Don't worry, my friend. I am your shield.
Heroes never die.
This will heal you. Let me answer.
Okay, so we're just taking a lot of damage.
Let me answer.
As we're pushing, let's see, what's up with our team? Do we have our full team? Yes, once again, Anna's like we're a mile away, so that's on her though, not necessarily on you.
Defense mode activated.
Okay, maybe could be watching for like those Ana nades, right? Think intentionally about the things that you should be looking to block, right? So, honestly, on their team, there's not a ton of. Oh, I mean, you can think through like what are the ultimates and abilities that I can block, intentionally look to block. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, right? So we can think and we can go, okay, I can block Visor if I need to. I can block Bastional if I need to. I can block Rock. I can block Nade and Sleep. And then that's pretty much the extent of it, right? But just doing that scan of their team comp and coming up with that, well, now we're actively looking for those things because we thought about them. And then you can start to notice the nade a bit more and look to block the nade a bit more, because that's something we can easily block if we put up the shield for it, as long as we're paying attention. And then that way we don't get naded, and that way we don't die.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this Mercy's clutch. I think she's gone us like 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Notice how we're like kind of over flicking every time we fire strike. We're kind of aiming straight at these guys, and then we kind of look off to the side for for some reason. So just watch the sometimes we aim at them and then we'll over adjust. So watch the over adjusting when it's not necessary to do crazy movement at all. So just keep a crosshair on them when you're going for those fire strikes.
My ultimate is almost ready.
No,
Help me.
the payload is approaching.
Jesus, your still knows its you hammer down!
You're powered up. Get in there.
And if you notice that they're about to wake, that you shattered, and you swing, and they're about to wake up and be still alive, add in a charge at the very end of it, because they're still stunned and they can't move. So charge like right about now on like the on the Winston. They're about to kill the soldier, and then that's a free extra kill.
Okay.
Okay, very nice.
Ready. 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
Face me!
All right, time to talk about it. So, we've talked last time we did a session. We talked about cover usage, right?
Wait, what was it again?
Sorry, last time we did our session. We talked about cover usage, right?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So, firstly, make sure you're still doing that on Reinhardt. Sorry, what map are we on? We're on Junkertown. Where's Junkertown?
Yes.
Junkertown. All right. So firstly, use cover, right? Make sure that you're going and hugging corners. So a lot of times, I'm noticing that we're kind of just pushing straight down the middle, and we're holding straight down the middle. So when you're holding defensively, right, make sure that you're holding like on corners, because if we're holding here, then there's a couple things. Firstly, that encourages our team to stand all behind us, and they all get to, and if we drop shield or anything like that, or shield breaks, then they're all in the open, and then they're in just as bad positioning as we are. Additionally, if we go over to cover, this also means they can't see half our shield, and that, once again, preserves the life because it's taking a lot less damage, right? It's not doing as much. We also can take a lot less damage ourselves. We can swing off of the corner, so we can kind of go like this and swing around it and dance off the corner and use it as cover, so we take a lot less damage. We get to keep them at bay. Overall, corners are great, right? Use cover and play off of those. Now, we're also going to talk about no man's lands and chokes. So, I would imagine you've heard of a choke point. Have you heard of, heard that term before?
Yes.
Yeah. Have you heard of no man's land before?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. In Overwatch or just out of Overwatch?
In Overwatch.
In Overwatch. Okay, interesting. You're probably one of the first people I've ever heard say that. So, that's that's a good place to start. So, what would you define a choke point as?
Choke point. I guess mainly where both teams are fighting. Or like maybe like the point that we're fighting at, like King of the Hill. That choke point, the middle of the map, or no?
No. So a choke point, more accurately, is a funnel, right? Is what you can call it. So a choke point is any tight space that the enemy team is forced through. So a choke point on this map, this I would say is like a little bit of a choke point, but like popular ones are like very well-known choke points. Or you can think to Hanamura, that first gate, right? That's a choke
the gate.
point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or even Eichenwald, right? That for under that bridge. That's
Yeah,
a
the
choke
bridge.
point.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So it's a tight funnel that they're forced to walk through, and that means that you can pump a lot of damage into them while they're trying to come through it, right? Into their whole team. So that's a choke, right? Now, no man's land. What would you define a no man's land in Overwatch?
I guess like a long stretch of like road, like junker down the big road right here, where there's nowhere to no cover, no nothing.
Perfect. I mean that's as good of a response as I could get, and like I said, man, that's great because not a lot of people know what that is. So, no man's land, right? Like you said, long stretch of open space, no cover whatsoever. So, when it comes to defend, we'll talk about defense. We'll talk about offense. When it comes to defending a no man's land, so let's say, this entire pathway here, this is basically on an escort map, pretty much the entire path is a no man's land because there's no cover, no cover, no cover, no cover, no cover. A little bit of a choke point, this is like kind of a choke point, no man's land mix here, right? No cover, no cover, no cover, right? The entire way through and the whole map, basically, right? And therefore, right, when we're trying to hold the choke point, or sorry, the no man's land, right? If we hold at the front of the no man's land, well then the enemy team, if this is where we're holding, well then, do they really need to push through any of this open space to get to us?
No, not really.
Not really, right? Maybe this short little area here, but that's, very minor in comparison to if we were holding back further, right? And then they have to push all the way through. They have to come through so much open space, which means that our team can spam them down the whole time they walk in, right? Then additionally, let's say we have to give up space because they push into us, right? And we take damage. We're trying to back up. Where do we have to go?
All the way back to the health pack in the back?
Yeah, all the way back through the no man's land, right? So not only are we not putting them at the disadvantage, we're putting ourselves at the disadvantage and handing them the advantage, right? So we're doing by holding here, we're doing the flip-flop where we could have good positioning, but instead we're kind of putting ourselves in bad positioning and putting them in good positioning, right? So rather than holding here, where we're at kind of the front of the no man's land, or like here, which would kind of be in the middle of the no man's land, you want to hold at the end of the no man's land, which would usually be like up here on the high ground. Because if you're on the high ground, well then, you and your whole team, not, as Reinhardt, you can't really spam too well, but your entire team can spam them as they're walking in, and as they're walking in, as they're walking in, right? As they're walking in, as they're walking in, and then we drop on this corner, and now we're at the very end. We just spammed them the entire time, and now we have this nice corner to defend on. If they push us, we have space to back up. We can back up this way to get around the corner, right? But that just means that we're now holding at the end of the no man's land rather than at the front of the no man's land. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I thought I did see my team set up there, but I was like, I didn't think I was gonna be effective as Ryan up there. Thought that was mainly for like Arista.
So now you raise a valid point, right? Reinhardt wants to go and do stuff, but at the same time, right, you can kind of draw them in. Like if they need to also push cart, right? If they don't push cart, then they can't win. If they just sat there the entire time and they could win doing that, then yes, you're correct. You would be doing nothing, right? But the fact of the matter is that they actually have to push the cart and get it underneath you. Oh, excuse me. And if they get it underneath you, and then so essentially they're coming to you. You don't have to, as Reinhardt, you don't have to close the distance because they're closing the distance for you, right? They're not just gonna sit a mile away from you. And if they sit a mile away from you, then you just go, okay, and I hide behind cover, and then they just don't do anything. They don't accomplish anything, right? So yes, you're not doing anything, but you're not doing anything and it's effective because they need to come to you, right? And then when they do come to you, now you're in much superior positioning after your team has just done a lot of damage to them the whole time. Still make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So now attacking no man's land, right? So we're pushing into it. When you push into it, make sure you're using cover, right? If you just walk straight down the middle, which is kind of what we did, we kind of did this wide wrap around, right? And you just push straight down the middle, straight down the middle, straight down the middle. Well, then you just are going through this wide open space where there's no cover at all, and you're just taking so much unnecessary damage. So when you have to, one, go through it as fast as possible. We were just kind of slowly waddling, shielding, slowly waddling straight down the middle. That means that they have so much time to shoot at us, and we're not using cover so that they they can do so much extra damage. Now imagine if we do something like this where we push up along this wall, right? We swing, right? They're back on the corner. So then we shield hop, we shield hop, we shield hop. Now we push from cover to cover. Now we're at this cover, right? And now we're on this corner, Okay, they've backed up. Okay, now we're pushing, we're shield hopping, hopping. Now we're on this cover, right? So we're pushing from cover to cover to cover, closing the distance really fast. Like watch like that. We just closed this distance, right? In the course of 1, 2, 3 seconds, whereas before it took us, like 7 seconds, 10 seconds, right? As we're slowly waddling towards them, getting our shield melted in the process, right? All makes sense?
Yeah.
Alrighty. And any questions so far?
No, I think you've answered most of them.
Alrighty.
Ready for battle.
That is good to hear.
Heroes never die.
So we just finished this run.
Yeah.
Ready for battle. 5.
So you are using cover, so it's not the most atrocious positioning you could be in, but still. And then we do leave the cover, kind of leave it, and then we walk back, and then we leave it. We notice how we're kind of pushing out into the open now.
Mm-hmm.
Not so fast. Defense mode activated. Stop.
Don't worry, my friends. I have no reason.
Right, so just, notice how, like, we're just kind of forced through this no man's land ourselves because we're pushing into them. Now, one of the best things about defense is that you don't have to be the one pushing. When you're the one pushing, you're at the disadvantage because you're pushing through the open space. So we're kind of flip-flopping where we're kind of attacking them on defense, right? And though that's not, that can be a strategy, in this case, and in a lot of cases, usually it's better to actually defend and let them come to you than it would be to just push so much, so far into them. And then we're kind of just chilling around here on cart. Nice. Good pin.
I can't hold forever.
It's just a scratch. You'll be fine.
Okay. Last time we talked about watching kill feed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it after the match. I was like, oh wait, my team's dead.
Yeah. So, do you remember just the specific numbers that we were talking about last time of, like, what's the difference between a advantage, disadvantage, one lost fight?
Yep.
Oh, there's a quiz question, pop quiz.
Oh,
do
yeah.
you remember what the numbers were?
It was like, I think 5 is what was it? It's like 5 and 6 is like it's a winnable fight. But 4 and below back up pretty much.
Yeah, so you kind of got it. So to just make it simpler, instead of doing like 5 and 6, it's do in terms of how many people you're down or up, right?
Mhm.
So you're down or up 1 to 2 people. That is an advantage or a disadvantage, right?
Mm-hmm.
2 to 3 people is a won or a lost fight. Now 2 is the middleman because there's a lot of other things that go into it. We don't need to go super in depth because this is right now this is the basics, but just know that 2 is the middle because there's a lot of other things that make up advantages and disadvantages. Which team has more health, more abilities, more ults, closer spawns, better positioning, etc. Right, so that's just why, so you're not getting confused over it, but it's 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3 is what you're working with. Here, it's a 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then they're coming back from spawn almost 6, right? So at the moment, we probably want to be all the way out of there, right? When you've lost fight, get out if you
Yes.
can, or we can't let them kill you. So here we're just continuing to engage, and then we end up staggering ourselves. Now, is that a term that you've been heard of?
Yes.
So that's just gonna, be dying late. Means that we're wasting time or just letting our team run in without us.
Get into position. Stop right there.
Nice block. Are we gonna shatter? Right.
Nah, it's far.
So, in this situation, firstly, yeah, she's out of range. They have 2 shields in the way. Also questionable. I guess, yeah. I guess that's fine. Like the main thing is that we just don't, it's not a good shatter because we just miss it, right? They have too much stuff in the way. She's too far.
Mhm.
Hammer down!
Make sure you're watching your health bar, right? That you're backing. Firstly, you're using cover. You're backing up here. We're pushing. We missed the shatter, and we're pushing at 300 HP, right? Not shielding. We're kind of delayed to back up and get around the corner. There you go.
It's giving out!
Don't peek, right? Right now we're just kind of unnecessarily peeking, right? Notice that like we're 1 HP and we're shields down, and then we're going in again, right? And now our shields down again. Let's talk aggression scaling. So basically, aggression scaling is just a tool for you to learn to manage your aggression. It helps you know, when do I push, when do I back. Basically, think of your aggression as if it were on a scale. So you have 50% is your neutral. You can kind of start off every single fight, for the most part, at 50% because there's nothing really going on to make it go either way, right? Then your 0% is super passive. Your 100% is super aggressive. When you have advantages and opportunities, you go up the scale. When you have disadvantages, a lack of resources, and danger levels, then you are going to go down the scale, right? So to specify and define a few of those, right? Advantages are just things as simple as kill feed, right? Like who are you? Are you up people? You're up a person, you go from 50 to 60. Up 2 people, 60 to 70. 3 people, 70 to 80, right? And so forth. You're down, and then opportunities would be things such as, you see an opportunity to go get a kill, or to see land a big shatter, right? Maybe you see a 6-man shatter, go really aggro to get that shatter, right? Go up the scale. Now, if you are at disadvantages, that's like your down kills, right? So you lose a player, you go from 50 to 40. You lose 2 people, you go from 40 to 30, right? And so forth. Then also on top of that, you have lack of resources. Resources could be things like your abilities, right? Do you have shield? That's a major resource, right? If you don't have any shield, how can you possibly go in and play aggressive? Right now, your aggression should probably be like, 10, 20. Maybe you can be up on the corner swinging, but you should really be swinging, kind of hard hugging the corner, right? Because we don't have any shield. We can't play aggressive. We just get shredded. Also, your health bar, right, is another major one. If you have no health, you gotta be low aggression. You can't be going. So, a couple things to note there. Note that 1, yes, it's a lot of things to keep track of. It's all happening all at the same time, but you will get used to it over time, right, as you just continue to practice at it, right, and it'll just come in a snap of the fingers when you practice at it. Also, note that you don't hard lock into anything, so you don't come into a fight and then go 10%, go to 100% for 10 seconds and then 0% for 10 seconds. A lot of times it's going to be very fluctuant. You're going to come into the fight and you're going to see, oh, there's a big shatter opportunity. You run forwards and then you get headshot, and now you're 1 HP, so you have to back out, right? So we just went from 50 to 100 to 0, all within the course of 1 second, right? So it's going to fluctuate in a lot of cases, and sometimes it can lock in, right? It's just saying it can fluctuate very fast. That's about it on that. Any questions?
Oh no, the aggression thing that does help out a lot.
Yep. So here, right, we're taking a snapshot of our screen, right? They're using ults. We are down some HP, right? We're down about, we're down 2/5 of our HP. We have 0 shield, so we're down we're down resources. Is a big thing. There's a little bit of danger, right? Because of the ults. Oh yeah, that's danger level as well, right? Danger level is going to be like, they have ults, they have abilities, they're all shooting at me, right? Things like that, right? That can also be for like your teammates' danger as well, right? Your teammates are in danger. You play a bit more passive. So here, what would you say your aggression should be on the scale?
It was like, what was the scale again? It was like 0 to 10, or it was like
0 to 100.
0 to 100. Probably my shield's down and my armor's almost out. Probably like a 20, maybe 30.
Yep, pretty much about that. Yep. So we probably don't want to be really peeking too much, but notice how we kind of like are peeking a little bit, right? We
Yeah.
put up a shield and we're getting a little bit aggro. We leave cover. Maybe see if we can find some more snapshots like that, right? Just like, you know, take a quick analysis.
Let's up the tempo. Feel the healing beat. Come out and face me.
Probably go look to like maybe contest the Sigma or something.
Oh, let's break this. Damn!
You're powered up. Get in there.
I feel powerful.
Alright, so snapshot. Let's take a snapshot right
You're
about
powered up.
now. Okay, so we have 900 HP. We have full shield, full abilities. We are currently down one person, right? So we're down a person. We currently have nano boost. What should our aggression be?
100.
100?
Like
Yeah.
90.
Yeah, something like that, right? That's pretty good, right? Like, we should be really aggressive. Now, what is our aggression here?
I feel powerful.
Like it's at like a 10.
Yeah, we kind of sit around
If
it.
that.
Yeah, we kind of sit around. And then, now what's our aggression right now?
Trying to get to like a 60 to 80.
Well, if we're charging straight into their team, this is the 100 right here.
This is the 100. Okay.
This is the 100. If you're charging straight into their team, right, that's the 100, right?
Okay.
So right now we're at the 100, and our nano boost is about to run out, and the beat already has run out. So now we've wasted the opportunity, right? So what we just had was an excess of resources and an opportunity. I would mainly say that's an opportunity. What you got, nano boost and beat is a big old opportunity to use, and advantages, right, to use, and we just didn't use them, and then now we get here, and the nano's gone.
And I almost fell off the map.
Yeah. And then we also make sure to shield them when Bastion's shooting in the face as well. Also, charge, right? When you're charging, right, think about the end destination. Where are you going with it, right? We don't want to just charge randomly. We need to think, okay, where is the charge taking us? Because I mean, like, if you charge Sigma here, that might actually not be
Yeah, that would
too
have been a
bad.
decent charge against the
Yeah.
bow barrel thing, yeah.
Yeah, that might have been decent, because then we can kind of back, we have cover, we can back up. That probably secures this kill on Sigma. But even that, is semi-risky. But here we charge into really nothing, and then it also just puts us behind their entire team. It puts us in a really dangerous position to be in. So that's aggression scaling right there, right? We can kind of analyze what what it should have been and what it was, and then in your games going forwards, you should just think to yourself, okay, what should my aggression scaling be right now? Like, just go take a quick snapshot and go, what should I be right now? You analyze your surroundings, you go, okay, I should do this, right? That's what I should be. And when you intentionally think through that stuff, then it'll start to happen more often. Do you recall what we talked about last time in terms of like application of things?
I think it was just working on two things instead of working on the whole stuff you have to work on.
Yeah, or working on one thing or one category of things, or 1 to 3 smaller things within a category, so that you're not getting overwhelmed. Yeah, that's good. But how would you put that stuff into practice?
I guess maybe like trying to figure out practice shield hopping, and then just aiming and just like what was it? Aggression scaling for one game. Just try to manage that and just try to focus on that, and then maybe when I get better at it, focus on other two things, maybe.
Yeah, so you kind of identified the keyword, and that is focusing on the thing you're trying to work on. So you're going to come into the game, you're not going to autopilot, you're not going to just play Overwatch, because that's just going to lead to you not going anywhere. But what you're going to do is you're going to come in and you're going to intentionally think in your head, aggression scaling, right? You're gonna give yourself a constant stream of reminders to think about, when am I playing, what is my aggression scaling right now? Where am I at, right? Am I 100? Am I 0? Am I 50? Am I in between, right? You're just constantly thinking about it, and when you think about it, your aggression is probably gonna be a bit better, right? You're gonna start to, you're probably gonna be able to manage it a bit better. And then if you do that for a long enough period of time, it forms it as a positive habit. Once it forms as a positive habit, then you can move on to something else to work on, because it'll just come more naturally now, right? You'll be able to do all that in your head without even really thinking about it intentionally, right? That makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
All right.
Establishing defense point.
Easy.
The payload has reached the chipper.
It's just the trash. You'll be fine.
Okay, just gotta work out that timing. You can probably see that, if we're just watching like how fast cart's moving, there's like really no way we're touching with any teammates.
Mm-hmm.
See, through.
Okay, you can kind of hear Bastion waddling around behind us, right? If you're listening, keeping your ears open, that's pretty much a free kill. Same with Orisa, right? It's pretty much a free kill if we're just listening and keeping your ears open. Last time you talked on audio settings at all?
Yeah, like I don't know why. I tried adjusting it for the console. I still can't hear it as good.
Hmm. Okay. Like here is good for what? Do you know like what reason?
Like I tried turning down like the what was it? The master volume for everything because I thought like maybe it was just like all the music and stuff drowning out the footsteps and stuff, but I still couldn't hear it for some reason. I don't know
Well,
why.
master volume is everything, right?
Okay.
So that means that you're adjusting down the it's not adjusting the levels at all. If you want to, so settings, right? Audio settings. I would probably turn down music volume a little bit, right? Because music volume
Mm-hmm.
is going to, it can clutter with audio. I'd also recommend like go and you have audio mix, or sorry, where is this at? Dolby Atmos for headphones, right? That's gonna be your surround sound option in game, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you need it to just be louder, turn up the volume, and then besides all that, just make sure you're intentionally listening to your surroundings. Because if you're actively listening, then you don't just hear Bastion waddle by. Right now, I actually have my volume at I mean, I could see him through the wall, but also on my volume at 25%. Usually this is I don't know, up at 60, and I can still hear him waddling around just because my ears are trained to actually listen for the footsteps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I still need to learn everybody's footsteps. I know some, but not all.
Hmm.
Don't worry, my friend. I am your shield.
Probably could charge him here, right? Because once again, this is such a short distance that you're coming out of that charge instantly, right? You charge
Mm-hmm.
300 damage, then you're out of it, right? It's not dangerous at all. And he's in this tiny little corner. Where the heck is he gonna go?
Yeah.
Right?
Precision German engine. Behind you. Yeah, time to heal up.
Nice.
Down.
Okay. Note that your shatter is a cone, right? So if we're standing right on top of them, right? Notice how it spreads out when we shatter.
Down.
So it'll start in the center here and then go further out this way, right? And further out that way. So it's a cone shaped shape. So when we're shattering here, we actually wouldn't hit the Moira, we wouldn't hit the Orisa, we just hit the Baptiste. So if we're trying to hit all of them, we'd probably want to shatter from like back here, so just taking a step back, because now we can actually get into all of them, right? So if you're trying to hit more people, back up an inch.
Can you shatter under the payload too?
Yes. Or
Okay.
yes, it'll shatter under, and then sometimes it'll also travel on top and over,
Okay.
because it travels up by increments of 2 meters, I believe. If I'm not mistaken. So sometimes that can make for crazy things. Like you could probably shatter somebody on top of this, possibly, because it'll
Mm-hmm.
travel up this 2 meters and then up this 2 meters, so that the person on top gets shattered, or something along those lines.
Is that the best you can do?
I will keep you here.
Step right. Oh, splendid.
Take your master.
Back it. Don't move.
Alright, he got shredded fast there.
You're powered up. Get in there.
So yeah, we're at 1 HP. Probably want to go grab a health pack or a packet. Now we want to be exiting the fight. Kind of just waddling around. Here, I mean, now we can just let them kill us, but we probably could have gone out. We probably could have grabbed a health pack, request healing, right? Just something. Now we're kind of backing out slowly.
Are you satisfied with your
Alright.
protection?
So, main points, quick review, wrap up from there. All that jazz. Alright, so if we have ability usage, right? Fire Strike, aim it a bit better, right? Fire Strike, try to get it, on as many people as possible. You can Fire Strike around a corner because that's a charge up time. When you're shattering, right? Shatter, and then so you can hit both of them instead of just one of them, because you have to aim. If you're aiming at one of them, you have to aim at the ground. You can crouch, and then you can Fire Strike like straighter, right? Than having to just aim straight down. Charge. Don't charge, think about where the end destination is. Don't just randomly charge into their team if it's going to get you killed, because then you're taking so much extra damage and stuns, and you're just going into the middle of their team where you're running away from your team. But if you're charging this distance, well, now you're instantly out of your charge, and you just got an instant 300 damage, right? Shield, right? Shield when for abilities, for ults, for danger for you or your team, when you're pushing in with shield hopping, when you're backing out with shield hopping, and just in general when it's needed. You do not want to shield against nothing, against spam damage, right? That's not when you don't want to be shielding against all that random crap. Just manage it better. Don't randomly spam it up when it needs to recharge. Let it sit, let it come back. Overall, ability usage probably goes to like a medium, maybe higher end of a medium priority for you to work on. Okay. Shatter, back up a little bit so it spreads out, right? If you're shattering here, it's only gonna hit one person. You come back to here, now it's both of them, right? Besides that, don't ult in won or lost fights. Make sure we're not letting anything block it. Fire striking into it. Overall, nothing like super bad with it. So probably more like a low to medium priority, maybe lower end of that for you to work on. Reinhardt doesn't really have mechanics, but when you're swinging, make sure that you're swinging, side to side, like we were talking about before. Nothing real else with that. Then we have positioning. Good positioning is the usage of cover. Bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure you're using it. Play off of corners and whatnot, right? Make sure that, keep in mind, choke points and no man's lands. Also, I forgot to mention before when we were talking about no man's lands, choke points act the exact same way. This is a choke right here. If you're holding at the front, if you're defending here, then you have to walk backwards through it, and then they don't have to push through it, right? So hold at the end of the choke, right, back here, so they have to push through it to get to you, right? Hold at the end, not the front, not the middle, and when you have to push through it, go as fast as possible and go from cover to cover, right? That's gonna get you through it with taking the least amount of damage, right? I think that's primarily it, but that was a lot of big stuff there. That's probably like, trying to think. Yeah, that was probably about a medium priority for you to work on. And then finally, you have awareness/aggression. Awareness/aggression is pay attention to your health, your shield health, your abilities. Pay attention to kill feed and what's happening in there. Are you up people? Are you down people? 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fight. No ults in won or lost fights. If you've lost the fight, get out if you can, and if you can't, let them kill you. right? Besides that, pay attention just generally to your surroundings. You know, keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. Pay it, and then think about how that all adjusts your aggression, right? Aggression scaling: 50% neutral, 100% super aggressive, 0% super passive. Go up with opportunities and with advantages. Go down with disadvantages, lack of resources, and with danger levels for your teammates. That was probably the highest. That one is probably like a medium high priority for you to work on, right? As we saw in multiple circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to play this game passive. If you play passive and you just never do anything, well then nothing ever gets done. So you want to play aggressive whenever possible, but the unfortunate truth is that you can't always play aggressive. Passiveness comes when you are incapable of playing aggressive, and aggression scaling is just identifying when can I not play aggressive, right? Really is what it is, right? So overall, number 1 comes to awareness/aggression. Number 2 comes to your ability usage. 3, positioning. 4, kind of ult usage, kind of like, you know, on the not so important side. Okay. Any questions?
No. Appreciate the list. That does help.
Well, I'm glad that it helps. Let me stop the recording.